Attention nerds, this show is brought to you by Anime Fix, your one-stop anime shop. Located at 1685 Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you do not live in St. Petersburg, Florida, or near St. Petersburg, Florida, or if you don't live in Florida at all, you can go to their website at animefix.com. They do special orders. They don't just sell anime, they sell manga, they sell body pillows, they sell import toys and Gundam model kits. They have lots of Gundam model kits. They sell anything that your heart desires in the world of Japanese collectibles. They even have some American collectibles. Make sure you check out Anime Fix. They're on Facebook as well, under Anime Fix. AnimeFix.com, your one-stop anime shop. The comments and opinions on the show do not directly reflect the opinions of the Nerd-O-Rama network as a whole. Thank you. Okay, well, this is our first attempt at a video movie review. It's kind of like our test for the green screen behind us, the virtual studio, as it were. I don't know if this part is going to be making it in the final cut, but we'll find out. Okay, so first review of the new Nerd-O-Rama network. I am going to be reviewing Kick-Ass 2. Now, Kick-Ass 2 is the sequel to Kick-Ass, the movie that came out 2010, I think. Directed by Matthew Vaughn, starring some kid. I don't know who played Kick-Ass. I really don't. He didn't really do much after that. It had the Chloe Grace Moretz, or whatever her name, however you pronounce her name. She played Hit Girl, and of course, Nicolas Cage was Big Daddy. So we pick up Kick-Ass 2, pretty much after a few months after the first one. I don't remember time wise, but it picks up right where the second series started, Kick-Ass 2. Actually, if you read Kick-Ass 2, the second series, you pretty much get what Kick-Ass 2 is about. It follows the comic book really well, almost right down to the letter. They add and subtract a few things. I didn't like the teenage drama that they had to do because Hit Girl's character was a few years older in the movie than she was in the comic book. In the comic book, she's still like 10 or 11, and in this one, she's 15. So she had to go through do the high school drama stuff. It was very Mean Girls, Heathers kind of thing. What else? The final fight at the end, if you read the comic book, was a lot bigger than they did in the movie, which is weird because movies can usually get bigger than the comic book, but not this time. You could definitely tell it wasn't directed by Matthew Vaughn. That was one of my biggest gripes about the movie, was that Matthew Vaughn has his own way of making his films. It's not really a telltale sign, not like James Cameron with his color blue, or J.J. Abrams with his lens flares, or Spielberg with the constant people constantly looking at things. But Matthew Vaughn does have his certain, style, and you don't notice it until you watch a movie that he hasn't done, which he should have done. He did the first movie. He also did X-Men First Class. And they both have that same style to them. Not necessarily a feel or a sound, but it's the same style. And this movie was really lacking in it. It went on too long, but it didn't go long enough for the story. Like, I wanted to know more. They told story stuff in the movie that they just didn't need to tell, that was more interesting to know about in the comic book. And that's kind of where I I didn't dislike the movie. That's the thing. I really wanted to like be one side or the other, but I liked the movie. I didn't love the movie. But let's. I want to talk more about the story. It takes place after the big fight with Kick-Ass and Red Mist's dad. If you remember that, he shot him out of the building with a bazooka, and people are starting to embrace the vigilante hero character, and the whole thing is that all these people are coming out of the woodwork to do like community service and to do just forms of vigilante justice. And the kid who is the Red Mist, he wants revenge for Kick-Ass killing his father, and so he changes his persona into a supervillain, aptly called the Motherfucker, and he gets his own group of supervillains together and starts terrorizing. Now, in the comic, the terrorism is really graphic. It's really, I mean, you really feel it. I don't know. Maybe it had a different impact for the people who didn't read the comic and didn't know like the deaths and horrible stuff that the villains were doing. But I went in knowing what was going on, and it didn't. And even though I read the first series, and saw it, when they killed off Big Daddy, it was still a big impact in the movie. I mean, Matthew Vaughn took the music, took the lighting, and just the speed and everything, and just made it just gut wrenching or heart wrenching. Well, it depends. But this one just it kind of fell flat for me. It belongs in the Kick-Ass world. It one cool nod to Mark Millar or Miller. I don't know. It's spelled Millar, so I call him Millar. One little nod to him was in a flashback where Kick-Ass was younger. His dad. They show his dad putting up a poster on his wall for Superior, and I thought that was pretty cool. It's a cool little throwback to them because he wrote Superior too, and I think Romita Jr. did the art for that. I can't be sure or not, but yeah, that was a cool little nod. Nothing. They mentioned Spider-Man a lot, mainly because it's a Marvel movie, or in this case a Marv movie. But it is published by Marvel, and so they're allowed to get away with naming stuff, and that was kind of cool. Nothing super spectacular. I remember seeing the first Kick-Ass and being blown away by what they were able to get away with, and I don't know. I guess because of the impact of the comic, and as a departure from regular superhero comics that Kick-Ass was, they actually made a movie about it and kept it so close to the comic that the second one just didn't have that same impact. And like I said, I don't dislike the movie. I don't love the movie. I'm kind of just like in the middle of it, and I will be probably purchasing it when it comes out for home video consumption or whatever you call it now. I don't know, is Blu-ray considered home video? Yeah. So Kick-Ass 2, not directed by Matthew Vaughn. And the effects. The effects were terrible. They used... Okay. For the way Jim Carrey went off about this movie, which I still don't understand why he did it, about how violent and how much gunplay there was and blah, 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 and yada, yada, yada. There was very little of this that I noticed. There was very little graphic violence. There was very little needless violence. And in fact, most of the violence came from Jim Carrey's character, Colonel Stars and Stripes, who was an ex-mafia guy. He never fired a shot. His gun was never loaded. I'm not spoiling anything, but he was kind of a nice man. But the effects that drove me nuts. All the blood effects, all of everything. There were no squibs used. There was no fake blood used. It was all CG, and it was all bad. It was like watching someone's experiments with After Effects, and they're like, "Hey, we'll just put this in the movie," and it was just so bad. I have to warn people, there is a vomiting scene, and it is so awful. Because they CG'd their faces to get a little bigger to let the vomit out, and that looked so just, oh my god, it looked terrible. And I think that was the biggest gripe I have from this movie, was the effects weren't they weren't Hollywood standards. I know this movie sort of, I guess, bombed, but it didn't do any worse than the other movies that came out aside from The Butler, and that's I'm not even going to get into that because of Oprah's evil empire. But Kick-Ass 2, if you've seen the first one, go see the second one. That's all. That's basically all it is. That's all I have to say about it. Really, it's a decent movie. It's not a bad movie at all. It was a little long. I don't know if it was actually long, but it felt long. And it should have been longer in the right places. That's what she said. Wow. Okay, I'm just going to end this now because I'm just going off. And we'll see on the next review, which I don't recall what it's going to be. It might be at The World's End. I might do a review for that, or yeah, I will do one for Insidious. I'm sorry, the first one was awful, and I will sit through the second one for you. You already heard my review on The Conjuring. If you didn't, go to Nerd-O-Rama Network. .com and find our audio podcast of the first show of the Nerd-O-Rama network going solo, not part of the last network that we were part of. The audio podcast is Nerd-Atorials. And let me know if that's a good name or not. I've heard different things on that. So remember to look us up on nerdoramanetwork.com. We are also on Facebook at facebook.com/Nerd-O-Rama Network. Remember, if you are a fan of Nerd-O-Rama, that does not exist anymore. You have to be a fan of Nerd-O-Rama Network. We got hacked and everything was deleted, so we had to start over from the beginning. And we are growing faster than we ever have. So I actually want to say, whoever hacked us, thank you. It's put us even more popular and everything. You can also get us on Twitter at nerd_O-Rama. And that's it. So I will see you for the next show we do. The next, it may not be a show, it may be another short like this. But we will see you, and that is about it. So I guess this is me, and I am signing off.